This episode of Characters Face Off has been brought to you by Slim Jim.
I'm sorry, you're saying there's a multiverse?
Hey, what's up everyone? This is James. How you all doing today? I hope you guys had a wonderful weekend. I hope you guys had a great Valentine's Day. And welcome to the 5th episode of Characters Face Off. So, for today's episode, we're going to be talking about a fight between two giant gorillas. So you have King Kong versus George from Rampage. Now, for this episode, I'm going to be using King Kong from every single King Kong movie as well as the TV shows. And as for George, I'm going to be using him from the Rampage movie and the Rampage video games, which the movie was loosely based on. So, who's going to win? Let's find out. Okay, so let's talk about King Kong first. On Skull Island, true monsters walk the earth. And the strongest of the bunch is who else? King Kong. The last of his kind, the 8th wonder of the world, rules the island, battling T-Rexes, giant spiders, and much more horrific freaks of nature. He is so strong and smart, he doesn't need to fight anybody, but when explorers and hungry dinosaurs come looking for a fight, he is more than willing to take them down to defend his home. One of his natural abilities is that he has problem-solving skills. He also has a minor healing factor. He has formidable fighting skills, he is incredibly agile, and he has strength, which is able to produce punches with a force of the magnitude of 4.2. He also has climbing abilities, which he actually can climb onto trees and buildings and everything. And he also has intelligence, because his ape intelligence allows him to take advantage of his surroundings. And he also uses tools and weapons such as trees, boulders, and even the boat propeller attached to the chain, and is capable of communicating via sign language. He can leap great distances, he can absorb electric circuits and uses them to release an electric surge, and is immune to radioactive elements like Element X and even Godzilla's atomic beam. One of the most dangerous attacks he can use is his signature jaw-breaking move, which he actually crushes the T-Rex's jaws throughout the original King Kong as well as the Peter Jackson movie. He even survived falling off the World Trade Center with the help of the doctors, which that took place in the 1976 remake and King Kong Lives. And King Kong uses his new weapon called the Battle Axe during his rematch with Godzilla. No one ever should judge King Kong just by his appearance alone. He may not look like the most powerful monster, but he has fought a lot of enemies throughout his entire life throughout the franchise. He has fought 3 V-Rexes on his own while protecting Andero. He threw a palm tree into a moving helicopter. He pushed open the T-Rex's jaws until they snapped. King Kong was able to survive Godzilla's atomic beam. He defeated Gorosaurus. He's capable of battling a separate opponents like the giant boa constrictor or sea serpent and coming out on top. King Kong defeated his robotic doppelganger Mechanic Kong. He even defeated Mechagodzilla in the new Godzilla vs. Kong film. He fought a giant octopus, a pteranodon, Dinobots, mechanical dinosaurs, the Meyer squid, skull crawlers, and the creature called Ga. And he has even defeated the king of the monsters himself, Godzilla. With all that being said, King Kong is far from perfect. Because he can easily be harmed by bullets, especially from planes. It has plenty of bullets to take him down. When he's on top of the Empire State Building, he can easily redeem unconsciousness or getting tranquilized by gas bombs or chemicals, and he's also very camera shy. Even though that he's not truly like the most superpowered monster of all, he's actually a giant gorilla. But overall, beauty may have killed the beast, but King Kong is still alive and he remains alive as well. several decades after when he actually saves a beautiful woman like Ann Darrow. Okay, now it's time to talk about George. Now, George the Ape is one of the 3 monsters from the Rampage video games. He was originally a human who was mutated by an experiment from Scumbles. He then goes on a rampage across the world, be it across the continent, across the planet, or even across the universe. One of his powers and abilities is that George can fight at the close range of his hands and feet. His roar can damage enemies and obstacles. He can climb walls, and he can flap his arms to slow at his distance or travel through space. He can spin himself into mid-air, damaging his surroundings. He uses his feet to stop any building, destroying it, and blew in a blow in the process. He has a high stamina, and he can understand humans and signature against enemies. One of his feats is that he can destroy all the matter of the military weapons, including tanks, helicopters, and mechs. George can damage buildings so much that they can collapse. He can one-shot buildings with Ape Stomp. Regularly lays waste to cities. George fought monsters on his level with like Ralph and Lizzie. He can live in through double-decker buses. He can shake buildings by kicking them. He survived being struck by lightning. He can tank aerial bombings that can destroy cities. George can travel across North America in 128 days. He flew across the solar system in 13 days, and he flew to another solar system in 1 day. However, despite all these feats, he still has major flaws. George will revert back into a human if he takes too much damage. He can't breathe in smoke, and stops to cough when he encounters it. And if he steps in fire, he starts to hop around while holding his foot in pain, and he can actually be stunned by electricity. But overall, George is actually a very powerful ape, and he will always go on a rampage with the likes of Ralph and Lizzie, and he will always be the mightiest gorilla of all time. Okay, so now it's time for me to talk about who do I think will win in this fight. Now, before I announce the winner, we all know that King Kong is actually one of the most powerful gorillas of all time. He's easily one of the most iconic ones around in pop culture history. But what if he actually fought another powerful gorilla that's just as powerful as him? George from Rampage. So I think the winner of this fight should be King Kong, and here's why. If it was the MonsterVerse version of King Kong going up against George, then that would give Kong the advantage to beat him, mostly because of the fact that he is also kind of bulletproof, even though he can actually get hurt from helicopters, just like in the other incarnations of King Kong. But he actually has been known for using powerful weapons, such as the battle axe, which he uses it when he was having a rematch with Godzilla, and he actually was able to defeat Mechagodzilla with it, with Godzilla's help of his atomic breath, of course. If it was the Peter Jackson version of King Kong going up against George, then I would give the advantage to George, because George is stronger, and he's more durable, while King Kong is actually more fast and agile. So overall, I think both of these gorillas will go blow for blow against each other throughout the entire city. But I really do think that King Kong will get the advantage in defeating George, because King Kong will go blow for blow on George when he uses all the brute force, and George will turn into a human if he takes too much damage, and also Kong will use his electricity to basically stun George to death. So, making this Characters Face-Off's winner is King Kong. So guys, thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. If you enjoyed this video, please like it. If you love my channel, please subscribe and turn on the notifications. Thank you so much for watching. This is James Hernandez. Stay tuned for the next episode of Characters Face Off, since it's going to be the most requested one. And I'll see you guys next time in the next video. Take care.